Yeah. Yeah. Turn me up a little. Oh. Hey. Yeah. Walking, I am calm, but the message loud. No circus talk, I do not play for crowd. I do not chase clicks, I chase clarity. Truth with the rhythm that is therapy. If it feel heavy, that is how it land. Real life questions in the palm of your hand. We talk love, we talk pain, we talk pride, we talk what folks hide when they outside. This that head nod, mind open, say it straight, no fine print. If it hit you, do not rush, let it sit, let it sink in. Chew on that. Real talk, real issue, where the truth stay at. No smoke, no mirrors, just the facts. If it spark that thought, bring it back. You need to digest this. Chew on that. You need to digest it. Chew on that. Everybody gotta take, I gotta land. I ask one question, then I ask again. What you believe and why you believe it? Who fed it to you? Did you ever read it? We do not do beef, we do not do hate, we do not do fake peace just to feel safe. We dig in deep, then we pull it up. Turn hard conversations into grown love. Breathe. Let it play. If it cut you, it can heal the same. If you're ready for the work, let me see you stand. If you're ready for the truth, put your heart in your hand.
I know y'all love my true intro. I know you love it. I know you love it. But listen, today is going to be very, very special. I am so excited for this episode. Y'all have no idea. With that being said, you know what we do. Welcome to the True Radio Network, where we don't just talk, we think, we challenge, we build. But before we get into today's conversation, you already know what I gotta do, the books and business segment. Now listen, everybody's been hitting me up with their businesses and no one's been sending me their books. So this is what I want to do. If you got a book, then and you're building it on something real, I want to promote it here for free. So please send me the links and everything to your book so I can get it to my audience for you for free. Why? Because visibility shouldn't be gatekept. Just want to throw it out there. So anyway, also want to plug in today's sponsor, Underdog Athletics. If you're someone who's building, grinding, pushing past the limits, this brand represents exactly that mindset. It's for the people who embrace the work, not just the spotlight. So if you're an athlete, if you're working out in the gym, if your children, your nieces, your nephews, whoever is an athlete, go to their website, underdogathletics.com, and use my code, athlete8799. That's ATHLETE 8799. Use that at the checkout. I guarantee it's going to blow your mind. Now, oh my goodness, today's conversation, it's not just surface level. We're going to be talking about something that a lot of people are living, but they're not naming. The hidden price of high performance. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to elevate, but no one talks about what it costs to stay there. And so, I had to bring someone on who actually lives in this space. Not just talking about burnout, but we're going to be helping people build the internal capacity to sustain success. What I mean by that? We're talking about resilience, adaptability, emotional intelligence, the stuff that keeps you from breaking while you building. This lady right here that I'm going to be introducing, oh my God. She works with individuals, she works with teams, she works with organizations. She helps them develop the internal foundation required to thrive under pressure, change, and ambition. Hold up, I'm not done. The glaze is not done yet. She's a TED Talk speaker, leadership conference delegate, trainer, author, and a thought leader. But more importantly, she is someone who understands that success without internal structure eventually collapses. I'm going to introduce you guys to Terry Ann Richards. Let's welcome her to the show. What's going on?
Hey.
She is here, and we are ready to dive into something amazing. But before we do that, Terry Ann, I just want you to introduce yourself to my audience from your words.
Awesome. I am a lifetime East Coaster on the Atlantic side of Canada. I'm a mom of two, a wife. That's the human side of me. But I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18 and a half years old. I've had 9 different companies across different sectors, different industries. I spent the last 10 years diving deep into this work. And it's the stuff that nobody wants to talk about. It's the stuff that nobody's saying out loud, because the one thing that I know is when you're a high performer, an ambitious individual, is you want to go to the top. You want to lift out into that trajectory. But there's these pieces to the foundation that none of us were taught to build. And when I was in my 20s, I burnt out after growing 2 really large organizations. And I've spent the last 10 years diving deep into it. And so I help individuals build the internal architecture, if you will, to hold when stuff gets hard, when stuff gets chaotic, when stuff gets a little stressful, because that is what allows us to go for the big swings and actually achieve them.
And True Radio Network, listen, you know you're going to have to follow her and all that stuff. We're going to get to all of that, her social medias and all that, where you can find her later on in the show. You're going to have to support this because, you know, I don't just bring fluff to the platform. I bring people that I look at their work and I say they are the embodiment of their work. This woman right here is an embodiment of everything she just said. As I was corresponding with Terry Ann, right, to set up this whole episode, well, me and my assistant anyway, we're corresponding back and forth. So she said something powerful to me in an email, right? And I wanted to share this for a second, right? She said that happiness isn't something we stumble into. It's something we build. Can you just take a moment to break that down for us in real life terms? Like, talk to us. Yeah. Teach us, Terry Ann. Teach us.
I think we got it backwards. I think a lot of people think happiness is a feeling, right? Mm-hmm. And we chase words like success, right?
Wow.
And dollar bills. But I think happiness is not a feeling. It's an outcome that is designed with intention if you have those pillars in place. And when I think of the pillars, there's 6 very specific pillars that I think each individual needs to have in place to feel it, feel the good, feel the fulfillment, feel the joy, but also be happy, which is that place of thriving that we use the word success, but really what we're aiming for is I want to thrive. I want to feel good, right? I want to have pep in my step, right? Yeah. And so those 6 pillars are belief, evidence, identity, resilience, adaptability, and grit. And you need all 6.
Wow.
Each and every one of them, because for you and I even to be here, right here, right now, we needed to believe that it was possible. We need to believe in our own possibility, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
When you start to believe, you start taking action. And as you take action, you start owning little pieces of evidence that says, yeah, I can. Yeah, I can do that. That was hard, but I can still do that.
Yeah.
That does. It shifts who you think you are. That's your identity. When you walk into a room and you see somebody walk in like they own the place, that's because they own that identity for themselves, right?
Wow.
So when you think about it in terms of life, like just how life is in general, it's hard. It's stressful. There are things happening that are outside of our control. And so those first 3 they're foundational, but then it starts into the tough stuff. And you think, well, what if I fail? What if I fall? Well, that's why you need resilience, but you can't have resilience without the first 3, right?
Wow.
Right? Like if you think about it, like just systematically, these things all need to be in place for you to get to that space.
Absolutely.
And when I think of like the word success, it's different for all of us. Like what you think success is and what I think success is
Yeah, it's so
very different.
subjective to whoever's saying it. Yeah,
So different. And also what I thought success was a year ago and what I think it is today, also very different. So
wow.
that post changes. But the fact is you need to build that skill, and it is a skill, and it's a skill that is innate to all of us. We can build resiliency, but then you need adaptability. You need to be able to pivot. You need to be able to iterate. You need to be able to tweak, because the how you think you're going to get places, sometimes you need to take a different road, right?
So wait a minute. So you just said something, right? And oh my God, you are spitting hot monkey lava right now.
Hot
Listen,
monkey lava. I like
so
it.
what I'm hearing from you is that pretty much happiness is a skill.
Yeah.
Wow. So what does that actually look like to build that like every day?
I think when you think of
and let me
yeah.
precursor it with this. I'm sorry. Let me precursor it with this, because you talked about belief being the first step.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that I know that I've been helping and trying to help elevate to the next level, they're stuck at that point.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to kind of like give us a day-to-day, like, how does someone build that happiness as a skill every single day that they wake up? You know what I'm saying?
So you ever hear of a BHAG? Big, hairy, audacious goal?
Yeah.
They're not smart. They're not smart. Because they don't build that beginner's level of belief, because just starting, just doing something that's unknown, that's different, is hard. When you create big, hairy, audacious goals way the heck out there, you look at that and you go like, that's cool, but I'm never going to do that. Like, I'm never going to be a multimillionaire. I'm never going to do this. Belief, the day-to-day stuff, is do something that stretches you, but it don't scare the living out of you. Like, it stretches you. It's do something hard every single day. Push the limits. The same way that you and I go to the gym and we start building nice biceps, nice glutes. You don't start and pick up the biggest weight. You can't. You haven't built the muscle for it yet. How do you build the muscle? You got to start small. You got to start with the itty bitty weights, and you got to stretch yourself just enough that you get that evidence that says, yeah, maybe I can. Maybe I can. And it starts to shift, because it's, to me, the only way you go and do hard things, the only way you go and take those big swings is because you believe it's possible, and you start to think, hey, I am the kind of person that does hard things. You have to start with belief.
Yes, absolutely. And to agree with what you just explained, it gave me the language for something that happened to me this past weekend that I witnessed, right? So I've been working with my daughter, one of my daughters, on the softball player, travel softball. They're freaking amazing stars. And she was having a really hard time adjusting to the faster pitchers, right? And so I would take her to the field, and I would tell her, look, get your emotions out of the game. I don't care if you swing and miss. Just swing. The attempt is what I'm looking for, right? And so I would beam the ball, and eventually she was scared, and then eventually she grew out of it, and then she started to swing and got close to it, and then she started hitting the ball. This weekend when she did her softball tournament, I got twin girls, by the way, so I'm talking about Raven, one of them. When she got up there to, oh my God, the level of confidence she walked into the game with, number one, was like, even if I was to say, you're not going to hit the ball, she would have looked at me like, yeah, right. Shut up, Dad. Like, I got this. You know what I'm saying? Like, her whole strut, her whole aura was just like different. And she hit the ball so perfectly every single game, every single solitary game. And so you're absolutely right. If you don't build that belief, you can throw the rest of that stuff in the trash.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. So let me ask you this, right? Because now let me personalize this. I'm a high performer, right? Mm-hmm. Doing a lot of great community work and things like that. But also, I have my own company, Digital Pulse Studios, LLC, where I'm doing a bunch of work, videography, websites, all that stuff, right? So I'm always constantly performing. And I found about 3 years ago that I was looking very successful on the outside, but I was exhausted and disconnected internally. Why is that?
Hmm. Well, I think there's a few things that come to mind, and I also speak from, my own personal experiences. I mean, this is where the love and the desire to research the heck out of this stuff came from, is because of my own shortcomings and failures back in the day. So I think there's a few things. I think number one is, I don't think any of us were ever taught how to build these capacities in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think we go for the big swings. We do the thing in some ways, not all the time, but we tie a lot of our worth to outcomes, to success, to the big swings, right?
Yeah.
And we forget that just like when you get in your vehicle and you start driving around and the gas starts to empty out, so do we. We are our own vehicle and we need to refuel. And I find working with a lot of ambitious individuals, high performers, man, just anybody who's just trying to do something that's next level, that's great, we forget to refuel. And I don't know if it's a societal thing or if it's a cultural thing. Like, we think that if we take too much rest, it's weak or we'll miss out. Like, there's a little bit of FOMO there. And so, and then again, it's, just like you put money in a bank account and it starts compounding interest. Well, so does stress. And stress isn't always what we see, right? Like, it's not always those like big catastrophes. Sometimes it's just the little itty bitties that, like death by 1,000 paper cuts, that start to compound. It's the worry, it's the doubt, it's the imposter syndrome, it's the constant on, and it starts to compound. And over time, we deplete our fuel tank. And then there's just not a whole lot left there. You don't got that get up and go. You don't get that passion. You don't have that fuel, if you will, to be able to do the next thing. And so, because nobody taught us it, a lot of us are having to learn it the hard way. Like, it's like true road rash where you just fall in and it's like, I can't get up. Like, I don't know what's going on with my body, my mind. Where's my words? Where's my, you get brain fog, you get fatigue. You feel like, again, you just don't get no pep in your step. And I believe full-heartedly it comes from, we're just not refueling.
Wow. Refueling. I actually talked to my team about that earlier today. I meet with my team on Wednesdays, right? And I talked to them about, we're constantly pouring out. And me as the leader, I had to do some self-evaluation and realize that I'm not getting the right amount of pour in that I need to continually. It was like at some point, the success outgrew my internal capacity, right? And I know this is all your work. Like, you are like, okay, so if you use the gym analogy, right?
Yes.
Right now, you're my spotter. I'm in the gym and I'm trying to bench this thing. I need you to spot me, Terry. And you understand me? Like, this is what I need. This is what we all need. We need your work. We need your advice. We need to, because there's also going to be listeners, right, that's going to hear this that haven't gone through it yet.
Yeah.
And so wisdom says that they can learn from your failures, my failures, the wisdom that you've gained through the experience of that failing, so that they don't have to, right?
100%.
And so I love this whole segment that you're talking about right now, because I feel like a lot of us self-sabotage. A lot of us are not believing in ourselves. And so I got a question for you, right? What are some of the beliefs that high achievers like myself and others carry that actually work against us?
There's a few. I spoke to one subtly, which is their worth equals their output, right? The success that they have.
Ooh. Hold up. Stay right there. Go deeper into that real quick.
So again, where does it come from? I have no idea, right? But you sit down with 10 of us, and I would say 99.9% of us are going to have some agreeance on this space, that our worth, our value in society, in our community, in our family, has something to do with the productivity, the achievement, the title, the something that's so external that has nothing to do with our value. But for some reason, between our two beautiful ears, that is a a narrative. And unfortunately, narratives are strong, right? The voice in our head is so strong that it will dictate how we show up in a room. It'll dictate the actions we take or don't take. And that then leads me to the next struggle, which is I'll rest when I'm done.
Yes.
I'll rest when I'm done. And that's another narrative that seems to go around in high performers' heads.
I just went from liking you to hating you just for that statement alone.
Right? Because when are we done? When are we ever done? I go to bed and I'm thinking, okay, that was a good day. I achieved what I need to achieve. And then maybe I'll wake up at 2 a.m. with some random new idea, and it's never done because we're always innovating and creating. There's always something else that we could be doing. And we live in such a digital world that, like, technically the work is never done. There's always something else we can do. But the problem is the narrative then goes, my worth is attached to my outcome. I'll rest when I'm done. That if I do rest, I might be seen as weak or soft. Right? Or again, it just goes back to, like, I'm going to miss out. Like, if I'm not doing the thing, my competitor's going to show up and do it, and they're going to outplay me. And that means I don't win. And there's all different versions of this, but it always comes down to a lot of us are just attaching our value, who we believe we are, to something that's out there. And I think the real work begins when we start to detach ourselves, because I think of, like, myself, for example. Entrepreneur is the title that I would 100% attach myself to, because I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18 and a half. I don't know anything else. Like, I maybe had a few stints where I worked in corporate, but mostly entrepreneur. The idea of separating myself from that it's almost like separating me from a part of my body. Like, that's who I am.
Like it feels like a part of you is being ripped out. Yeah, absolutely.
100%. But I've been in a lot of businesses and I've had some pretty epic failures. I've had moments where I just sat there and was like, oh shoot, like the whole thing blew up and I've gone bankrupt and I don't have anything left. Wow. And I had to have some real strong internal dialogue with me, some introspection with me to be like, but I'm still here. My value still exists outside of the thing I was doing. And my entrepreneurism is a character trait. It's a quality, but it's not out there. And I feel like that's the work. That's the work of separating what's out there with what's in here, so that no matter what happens, because we all know that stuff is going to happen. There's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days. There's going to be successes, and there's going to be failures, because that's the balance of life. If we can learn to detach ourselves from those external outcomes in terms of not allowing it to dictate what we believe about ourselves, our identity, our value, that's where the real work starts.
So and you're talking about self-leadership. You're talking about being able to lead yourself before you actually try to go out there and dominate the field of leading others, right?
100%.
And you know, so for me, I know practically for me that looks like, you know, I'm already a leader. I already have a team and those things, and still doing the self-work to make sure that I'm not, number one, self-sabotaging myself. But also, while I'm developing, I'm inviting my team to watch the development so they feel comfortable to develop. And I feel like that's what you're trying to say is like, hey, if you're already in this thing, leading somebody, like, it's okay that you started, but make sure that you invite them into your growth moments as well, to give them the space to feel comfortable to grow as well. I found out, Terry Ann, I found out this about me, right? That I'm such a people's person that I don't care if people see my flaws. Mm. And so, but the right people, let me put that in mind. You know what I'm saying? The right people, right? But I do that because I never want anybody that's a part of my team or anybody that I'm leading or have influence over to view me as perfect and to view me as flawless, because that's a delusion, right?
Beautiful.
And so what are some practical steps that people that are in leadership right now can take to make sure that they're leading themselves more than they're leading others?
So I think if I were to put sort of a like a line in the sand.
Yeah, because you touched on it a little bit. So yeah, yep.
Yeah, like I would say that the thing to remember is our teams mirror our internal state.
Oh, wow. Our teams mirror our internal state. Somebody need to write that down.
Yeah.
Hashtag that. Yeah. Go ahead.
And so what does that mean? That means it starts from the inside out. It starts with me having emotional regulation, understanding where my energy walks into a room. What is it when I walk in a room? What energy am I bringing? When I'm upset, when I'm happy, when I'm whatever other emotion I'm feeling, what am I bringing into those rooms, into those conversations? How am I leading people when I'm in those different spaces and places? Emotional regulation means that when I am angry or I'm stressed or I'm upset, and I've got this acronym, I can't remember where I learned it, but HAT. So it's like, if I'm hungry, angry, tired, or stressed, what is the energy that I'm bringing into those conversations? So emotional regulation, which is emotional intelligence, one part of it is understanding the emotions that you have and knowing how to regulate them, because we all have anger days and sad days and all of that stuff. So I think that's number one. I think number two is, and I don't like speaking in weaknesses because I think they're just gaps, right? So we've all got like strengths, but then we have gaps. I think as a leader, it's irresponsible of us to not be aware of our gaps, to understand where is it that I'm just not, I'm not playing at a 7 and above. I'm a little bit below, and some of those we can improve and increase, but there are some strengths that I just will never have. Like, I am not a patient person.
Okay.
I'm not an angry, impatient person, but I'm not a patient person.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so I don't have that as a quality, right? It's not a strength of mine. Right. So when anything needs to happen that I know has a length to it, somebody else on my team needs to take that on. That's not because I will move through it really fast. And then you'll be like, she spelled every second word incorrectly. Also, attention to detail is not a strong skill of mine, but I'm okay with that. Yeah. I hire around me and I don't micromanage. I allow them to play that they're strange because that's their sandbox.
Wow.
Right.
You hire those that are the strengths to the areas that you have gaps in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's and then all of a sudden, like they're the yin and my yang, right? Like we're complementing each other versus competing in a similar sandbox, right? But I think as leaders, we need to remember that if our team is dysfunctional or not understanding their roles, that is a reflection of us as leaders. And so it does start, like, if you want to right the ship, it starts with the captain.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here from Terry Ann. Listen, we got to pay some bills. We're going to take a quick 2.2 break. And when we come back, we're going to continue the dialogue. The hidden price for high performance. If you're not learning from this episode, something is truly wrong with you, and it's okay. We're going to figure it out eventually. We'll be right back after this quick 2.2.
A year and a half ago today, I launched Underdog Athletics. Very early in my walk with the Lord, with zero business experience in my background. Fast forward to today, we're sitting here as a brand sponsor of the Hula Bowl with our first national TV commercial set to air on CBS in front of the entire country. I'd like to acknowledge every single person that has supported, helped, and prayed for me and my business on this journey. It is only by the grace of God that I sit here today with this testimony.
They who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint.
I pray that you will keep your heart open and that His presence will be revealed to you. May the Lord continue to guide our steps. His plan, not mine. Thank y'all, and God bless.
you already know what we are doing. And you know I have Miss Terry Ann with me. And we are talking about the hidden price for high performance. And she was just dropping some hot monkey lava on our heads. And I want to continue the dialogue. Now, based upon everything that was said in the first half of this show, Terry, you said something that was so powerful that has been resonating in my mind since you said it. And I feel like it's this, is that we've been, in a sense, been programmed to like, hey, take a rest, take a break, do these things, right? And that's cool, that's dope. There's moments you need that. But let's speak to those of us who are not there yet. And we need to learn resilience. Mm-hmm. We need to learn what it's like to not pull ourselves from the environment, but learn to build our internal capacity with the environment that we have among us, right? One of the things you talked about was your leadership quality. And you said that you're the type of leader that hires people to fill in the gap. You're the type of leader who, when she walks into the room, you know what type of energy and aura you're bringing to that environment, right? That type of leadership is a leader that I feel like knows their responsibility, right? They know what they're supposed to bring to their team emotionally, psychologically, all of those things to build that capacity. So now that we've talked about that, let's pivot back to what I just said previously. I believe that some people aren't actually experiencing being burnt out. I feel like they just outgrown their internal capacity by the life that they're trying to live. What are your thoughts when I say that?
100%. It's sort of like outgrowing, like a dog outgrowing its crate, or a doghouse or something like that. Not to say that we're all a bunch of dogs, because we're not. We're humans. Yeah. But but I think, as we grow and evolve, so does the container, right? And the metaphor that I guess I would have here is the pressure isn't typically the problem. The container is, and that's where capacity. So if I gave you an 8-ounce glass of water, right? 2 8-ounce glass of water, and I had 2 containers in front of you. One's itty bitty and one's a little bit bigger. And you put the 8 ounces into both. One's going to be overflowing and the other one's going to look like it's still got room, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think as we take on more, and I don't even just mean like roles and responsibilities. Sometimes it's just the cognitive load of it all, right? Sometimes it's the fact that when hard things happen, we don't stop, we don't pause. And so that dust is still sitting on us somewheres, right? I call it the stress residue. It's just kind of sitting on us somewheres.
Stress residue.
Yeah. And it just, so all of it, these aren't big things. They're just all little bitty, but they start to fill up our container, right? Yeah. And so I think when I think of capacity for anybody, it doesn't matter if you're a high performer, if you're a student, if it's, your daughters before they go play softball, like it doesn't matter. All of it has to do with starting to figure out, like, where are your capacity lines? Like, what is it that you're doing to help reduce the stress residue on a day-to-day basis? Because you're right. Not everybody's in burnout. Not everybody's going to burn out. But some of us are going to start feeling like this is getting a lot heavier than it used to be. Yeah. And so I don't believe in big swings. Again, I don't like the big, hairy, audacious goals. And I don't believe in big swings in this, because you tell people, hey, we'll take a quarterly retreat away. And they're like, I can't do that. I don't have the money. I don't have the time, So it's about the small stuff. What can you do on a day-to-day basis to reduce the stress residue? Number one is acknowledge that it's there, right? Wow. So at the end of every day, I want you to embrace what you did well, what worked well, but also, like, where was it tough?
Yeah.
right? Acknowledge, because building resiliency is about having emotional intelligence. So being aware of what's working and what's not, but also giving yourself grace when things get tough, right?
Yeah.
And then coming up with a game plan. And to me, just like those cups, as you start to fill them, maybe you're not filling up that fast this week, but maybe after 3 weeks, that cup is full and you need a way to start reducing it. And to me, rather than the big swing, if you just do the little things on a day-to-day basis, you're never going to get to the point where you're overflowing in stress or overwhelm and chaos. And so that may be putting your phone away at 7:00 at night and not having it in your room when you wake up the next morning, so that you're instantly getting that cortisol spike and like just flipping it all on. It might be that. It might be like, and I'm talking like small things that you can do that I promise you that if you Google it or go to AI, it's all well researched. It could be just like, it could be eating healthier and taking a 15-minute brisk walk, 7.5 minutes one way, 7.5 minutes the other way. Why? Because it releases hope molecules, which is really all just the good hormones, all the good molecules that come out to your brain and say, hey, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling good, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's going to yoga, right? But in some way you need to, because humans, again, we only have this big of a container. We need to figure out, how do you reduce it so that you have this metaphorically larger container for the pressure that's not going to stop. Pressure is just going to continue to happen.
Absolutely. I love that. Wow. Because it's almost in a sense like, if you constantly do that, you're building that habit or that discipline.
Yes.
To constantly reduce that stress level, that anxiety, and all those things. And then you're not even necessarily worried about how stressful the outward is.
Correct.
Because your internal capacity is, your internal fortitude is stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
And I think, again, I like gym. I go to the gym, so I use a lot of gym metaphors. But, when you go to the gym and you're lifting weights, you're literally tearing at your muscles to build stronger muscles. Yeah. So the goal is not to make everything, roses and butterflies around us. Again, there's a lot that's just outside of our control. The goal is to build that fortitude, that internal strength, that when things get tough, you have the capacity to handle it.
Talk that
right?
Talk. Yeah.
Yeah. You have the capacity to handle it. And again, we can go back to that beginning, the belief and then evidence. When I go through hard things and I reduce the load, I get rid of some of that residue, and I do it on a regular basis, I can handle the tough conversations. I can handle when I fall on my assets. I can do all of that. I start to believe that I am a resilient person. And guess what that means? I'm going to start taking bigger swings.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And you alluded to something I wanted you to bring back full circle, was those 6 things that you said in the beginning, starting with belief.
Yeah.
And give us the rest of the 5.
So you got belief, that's where it starts. Then you start getting evidence that you can do this, evidence that you can believe in yourself, evidence that when you take action, all those fears that you had that were stopping you in your tracks for not doing the thing, you start to believe it's possible. That shapes your identity. That's the third one. So belief, evidence, identity. Identity, wow. Now I know who I am. I know, hey, I can do this. This is the kind of person I am. I can go for the big swing. But like I said, from there, we all know that things will happen. So that's where you need resiliency. You need the ability not to bounce back, like some definitions like to call it, bounce up and forward with momentum. Because guess what? I believe that whatever it is that I'm going after is worth it. So I'm going to have the fortitude. I'm going to have that internal strength to go forward. The adaptability is I need to pivot. I need to iterate. I need to tweak. So that's number 5. And the 6th one is grit. That is legit. That is when you will go over, under, or through for whatever it is that you're going after. You want to learn French? Boom, you've got grit for it. You want to be able to lift 50 pounds? Boom, you got grit for it. But all of those 5 steps before grit need to be in existence for you to get to that point. And then the outcome is how you have sustainable high performance. It's how you have flow. It's how you have happiness. Not the feeling of happiness, the outcome of happiness.
Yeah. And that's key that you say that. It's not a feeling, it's an outcome. It's a skill. It's something that can be built and sustained, not coming in moments.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so powerful. Like, I just feel like a lot of my mental health struggles just disappeared from this conversation already.
Well, when you think about like the way people talk about happiness, it sounds soft. It sounds fluffy. And
Yeah,
that's not
yeah,
what any of us are trying to go after, because if my happiness is only a feeling, that means when things get tough, I can be very unhappy and I
yeah.
can be in a depressive state. And
Wow.
yes, we all have those moments, those influxes of energy and our emotions. But when happiness is an outcome in terms of a skill, it's something that is, it's kind of like my base point. It's where I'm always going to be. Even when things get tough, I still go back there.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
So it becomes a part of your foundation
Yes.
of who you are on the inside.
Yeah.
Listen, we're coming into the final stretch of the show. Terry, and I want to give you some space to speak directly to the people who is performing at a high level but knows internally something isn't sustainable. What do they need to hear from you right now?
I think we all need to recognize that we're on a journey, right? That life is just one really long journey. And our time on this earth, regardless of what you believe in this body, is finite. There is an end. And we don't get it right always on the first try. And I think as high performers, there is an expectation and a pressure that ain't nobody else putting on us. We do it to ourselves, that we're supposed to get it right, that we're supposed to achieve those great things. But most people who have achieved just the most magnificent things in their life, they did not get it right on the first try. But what they did do is they got back up, they dusted it off, they learned from those moments, they built that internal architecture, that internal capacity, and they went back at it because it was worth it to them. And so I think my message to ambitious folks, to high performers, to people who are just trying to get to that next level is remember that you are on a journey. It is okay that you're not exactly where you want to be yet. It's okay that yesterday you failed. It is okay that you said it wrong. What I want you to remember is that it is more important how you feel about you on the inside, that you believe that you are worth it, that it is possible for you, and that you're willing to sustain the work, because anything worth doing is worth doing it over and over until you get it right.
Yeah. Awesome. Listen, and before we close, you got to let the people know where they can find you, because I feel selfish, right? I feel like I've been using you as my spotter in this virtual gym that we just been on for the last 30 so minutes. I want my audience to now have access to your material. Where can they find you?
I am on every social media platform except for X. I don't know why I'm not on X, but I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on YouTube. I put out videos all the time teaching different ways to just improve who we are as humans so we can keep taking those big swings and achieve our inner peace and our goals for success and happiness. I have 2 books, Success Takes Courage and Becoming the 8%. And you're now part of my network. So if people have questions, just tell them to DM me.
Nice, nice. Listen, as we are about to exit this show, this wasn't just a conversation. This was actually a mirror. A lot of people are chasing performance, but they're not building the person required to sustain it. And I love the way that Terry Ann gave us some advice on how to do that. And eventually, because if we don't build that skill set, if we don't build that resilience, eventually what happens is life will expose the gaps that we have. And so ask yourself this question as you're listening to this. Can you achieve it? Absolutely. Can you carry it? Absolutely. Terry Ann, I want to thank you for coming on and having this conversation with your boy Randy Chew, a.k.a. Mr. Chew on that. And I definitely will have you back on the show and appreciate you. Audience, until next time, you can love it, you can hate it, but you definitely have to chew on this topic. Deuces!
Chew on that.